All right, everybody, if we can have you take a seat. We're so excited to have our last session today. How's everyone doing? Woo! All right. So I want to say welcome and thank you again on behalf of Komen and the Issues Committee. My name is Krista. I'm an oncology social worker at Providence Cancer Center, and this is, I think, my 8th or 9th year on the committee. So really excited to be able to introduce to you some of my just dear and near to my heart colleagues. I want to thank you. First, I have a couple of announcements. I feel like when I do kids groups, I'm like, how do I know you're paying attention? Your mouths are closed and your eyes are on me. It's so fun to connect, though. I totally get that. One thing I really want to make sure to mention is what's really helpful for us in the committee is if you fill out your evaluation, there's a general evaluation form. We really want to hear your feedback, ideas. So if you guys could take some time before you leave to fill those out and leave them with us at the front desk. The other thing is the image technology people sign up right here in the front for CEUs. And after this session, the nurses, social workers, and everyone else will get their CEUs outside these doors. I hope you all know where the restrooms are by now. And I just really want to thank you for the opportunity to introduce my colleagues. So behind me, I have Barb Nicholson Sambuceto, and she is a lymphedema. I'll actually read my introduction so I don't go on my own. She received her master's degree in science of physical therapy from Pacific University, and this week she graduated with her doctorate in physical therapy. That deserves a little. Oh yeah. She has been a physical therapist at Providence St. Vincent Medical Center since 1999 and is currently the oncology rehab program lead. Barbara has been an instructor at the PT program at Pacific University for 13 years and is the treasurer of the American Physical Therapy Association Oncology Section. And now I want to introduce to you my other great colleague, Beth Ruml. Beth is a licensed clinical social worker and a retired nurse. She went to school at the University of Portland for nursing and Portland State for her master's in social work. She has worked for Providence Health and Services for 23 years. She worked 12 years in hospice and 11 years at the Ruth J. Spear Breast Center at St. Vincent. Beth is a believer in the mind-body connection. She's trained guided imagery and opens every support group she facilitates with mindful meditation and relaxation. Beth also is a facilitator for the Casting for Recovery weekend retreats. So please join me with a warm welcome and my two dear colleagues. I'm excited to hear you. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. Delighted to be here. Gosh, I've learned a lot today. So, isn't it true that we're always learning every day? So first what I'd like to do is sort of start by telling you how I came into meditation myself. I was 19 or 20 years old when I came to Portland from Denver to start the School of Nursing at the University of Portland. And if you can imagine, maybe others of you have been in this place, I'm in a strange land, I have no friends, I have no family, and I'm embarking on an education and career path that I really care about and I want to do well in. So that formula added up to totally stressed out, and I bumped up against an opportunity to learn meditation. And I thought to myself, maybe this would help me get more centered and just be a little more calm. And so I signed up, I did it, and after the class, I had a pretty consistent practice in meditation, 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes before dinner. And I noticed, it was such a notable difference that I was far less fragmented by all the moving pieces in my life. And I really am so grateful for finding meditation at that point. So, over the years, my practice has sort of, there have been periods where it's been completely interrupted. But the cool thing is, since I have developed sort of a habit of it, whenever I'm stressed out, it's like, you got to start your morning time. And so now the last several years, I've had a very consistent practice, and I so appreciate the groundedness that it brings to my days. And Krista, when she was introducing me, just shared that I always start the groups I do now with just a brief relaxation guided imagery, because when I don't do it, you know what happens? People fly in the room, and we hear about the traffic coming in, we hear about the parking lot, we hear about, it takes us like 10 minutes to just all settle. When I start with a meditation, then it's like everybody's energies get collected, we go inside, we drop down, and right out of the chutes, we're sharing concerns of the heart around breast cancer and issues related to it. So let me just ask you all, show of hands. Oh, I was supposed to have a pretty picture on here while I was telling you all that. All right, so a show of hands. How many of you have had experience with intentional mindfulness, meditation, or contemplative prayer? Any of it? Okay, so then how many of you have a regular custom or habit of spending time like this? Okay, several of you, many of you, not quite as many, which is what I certainly would have guessed. So this is our beginning premise. If you can breathe, you can meditate. And if you have limited experience with mindful meditation, mindfulness or meditation, I just would invite you to come to the next hour with an open heart and an open mind. And know that we're going to take questions at the end. So if things come up that you want to ask about, please jot them down and we will get to them. So Barb and I believe that proof is in the pudding. So I'd like to invite you to an actual experience right now. So where's my light sky? Yeah, thank you. So I'd like to invite everyone to find a comfortable position right now where you're sitting, with your feet solidly on the floor and your hands resting comfortably in your lap. And then once you are comfortable, I would invite you to gently close your eyes and focus on taking a full breath, releasing it naturally when you are ready. Take several more slow, deep breaths, naturally breathing in, pausing for just a moment, and then releasing completely. In your mind's eye, follow your next few breaths into the base of your lungs, imagining that you are drawing in fresh, new, clean air, stirring up all that stale air that gets trapped in the base of your lungs, and releasing this tired air with the out-breath. Taking a few more full breaths, imagine now as you breathe in that you are bringing in peace and relaxation. And on the out-breath, imagine that you are letting go of any tightness or tension you may be holding. And really just do the best that you can. Repeat this intentional breathing a few more times. In with relaxation and peace, and out with tension and tightness. And see if you can remain focused on the breath and how it feels in your body as you breathe in and let that breath out. Are you noticing the movement in your chest? What about the feeling in your abdomen as it rises and falls with each breath? If your mind wanders, when you notice that you're thinking, gently bring your attention back to the breath. Continue to breathe intentionally, staying with your breath and how it feels in your body. And now, with your eyes still closed, I'd like to invite you to check in with yourself. What do you notice after this very short exercise of breathing in mindfully and letting go? Do you feel calmer, more relaxed? Just make a note, not only about the state of your physical body, but the state of your mind. And you brought this change to yourself in just a few short minutes of mindfulness. And now with the next in-breath, bring your focus to your feet on the floor, and your body in the chair. And when you're ready, with the intention of bringing this calm back to this room, take another full breath and open your eyes. To better understand what mindful meditation is, let's take a moment to define the terms. So what's mindfulness? Mindfulness is paying attention to what's going on in the present moment with acceptance and non-judgment. It's like being a witness to your present experience. When you add mindfulness to an activity like eating, for example, you become focused solely on that piece of food in your mouth, as if you were at like a tasting event where you're really concentrating and recognizing the flavors in that bite of food. You notice the texture, the warmth of the food, or the coolness of the food. And you're just, again, focused on the mouthfeel. That's mindfulness, bringing mindfulness to the act of taking a bite. Meditation or contemplation is turning inward, connecting consciously with what's happening in your body and in your mind. The purpose of mindful meditation is really to tune in and get in touch with your true self. That eternal aspect of yourself that goes beyond and goes deeper than the ever-changing circumstances of your life. Some people call it that still small voice inside that was with you when you came into this world and will be with you until you take your last breath. The question is, do you connect with this part of you very often? So, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions that actually become barriers to people discovering or trying out meditation and receiving its great number of benefits for the body and the mind and the spirit. For some, there's a lot of confusion. Is meditation a faith-based practice or is it a secular practice? Other people will say, meditation is really hard. And it is really hard if you're thinking that the goal of meditation is to get a completely quiet mind. And then, of course, in our busy lives, it's often felt that there's just no time for meditation. So let's talk about some of these myths. Is meditation a faith-based practice or is it a secular practice? Honestly, I think it could be a spiritual practice. It is a spiritual practice, and I think it can be a secular practice, and perhaps it's a bit of both. There are a lot of people that get a lot of benefits from meditation that don't see it connected to any particular religious tradition. As either a spiritual practice or a secular practice, there's a fundamental recognition that our true, peaceful, radiant nature is hidden oftentimes by worry, by insecurities, by stress, unfulfilled longings. Mindfulness and meditation help us connect to our true nature, which is always present but sometimes hidden. Meditation is like an invitation to an inner experience. In the context of any spiritual tradition, meditation could be considered like the receiving part of prayer or contemplation, where you drop below the noisy chatter of the mind and you really listen to the core of who you are and what informs your personal sense of self. So, in summary, meditation can be considered a contemplative self-care practice with lots of benefits for the body, for the mind, for the spirit, and for our emotional health as well. Meditation is difficult. So there are lots of people in this room who have tried meditation, centering prayer, or some other kind of contemplative practice, but fewer have found a way to incorporate it on a consistent basis. Our world is so noisy, our lives are so busy, it's very hard to really sit still and quietly in the present moment. People who want to incorporate meditation into their life will find they'll have a lot more success and a lot more fun if they receive some instruction from an experienced, knowledgeable teacher or guide. A knowledgeable guide can help you understand what you're experiencing and also help you move past common roadblocks, such as trying too hard or maybe being attached to a particular outcome, which always ends up in frustration and harmful self-criticism. So a good teacher definitely increases the likelihood of creating a nourishing, consistent practice, and one that's filled with acceptance and self-compassion. So these are common self-talk roadblocks, and really this is the number one reason that people give up in frustration. They really feel like they just can't quiet their mind for a few seconds, much less a few minutes. The harder they try, it seems like, and those of you who are meditators know what I mean when I say monkey mind, the harder they try, it's like their monkey mind just revs up, and monkey mind is where you jump from one thought to another thought to another thought to another thought. And again, is why having some good experienced instruction is really helpful. And then regarding time, I think realizing the benefits of meditation is a real motivator for starting practice. There are many busy executives and high-powered career people who have a committed daily practice because they're absolutely convinced that it prepares them for a more productive day and a more grounded day. In my experience, when I realized and could see the benefits to my day, I made a commitment and I did it. And now I hate to start my day without, I call it quiet time, but that is my quiet time. It does not take years of dedicated practice to receive the benefits from meditation. The truth is that benefits are immediate and they're long-term. And Barb is going to show you a slide in a little bit that shows the brain before and after meditation. It is really remarkable what happens in a period of meditation. So becoming the witness to our thoughts, actually. Meditation is not about thought stopping or trying to empty your mind, especially in the beginning. We can't control our thoughts, but we can learn to observe them. And then we decide how much attention each one gets. And while we can't impose quiet on our mind, meditation makes us more aware of that space between the thoughts. It's sometimes referred to as the gap. And it's in the gap between the thoughts that you'll find silence, you'll find peace, you'll find stillness, and that connection with your true self. In every meditation, there are moments, and sometimes just milliseconds, where the mind dips down into the gap and experiences that refreshment that comes from that momentary silence. With practice and on a regular basis, you'll spend more time in a state of this expanded stillness and silence. But even if you're thinking the entire time, you're still receiving benefits. The thought that you are having thoughts is in fact perhaps the most important thought of all. Because before you had that thought, you and your thoughts were one. There was no distinction between you and your thoughts. I mean, you're in there with your thoughts, and you are your thoughts. Simply noticing that you're having thoughts is a really significant breakthrough because it changes your internal point of reference. You become the witness. Oh, there I go, I'm thinking again. Well, there you are, the witness, looking at the fact that you're thinking again. And as the shift to sort of a witness perspective, as that strengthens, you begin to recognize, you know what? I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my stories. It's our ego minds that come up with these fearful thoughts that then create emotions, which we build frightening stories around. And I have a great example to share with you from my support group. It was like 15 years ago. And there was a woman who had been in group for several months, and I would say most all of us really appreciated how she was coping with her diagnosis, with her treatments, with her side effects. And then one session, it was her turn to speak, and she shared with everyone that there was a shadow on her lungs and that it was going to be worked up. Now, as you can imagine, we all took a deep breath, fearing that, bad news was imminent. And then she shared these words. She said, "This is how I'm thinking about it. Right now, I don't know if I have anything to worry about. And I have a lot going on in my life that needs my attention. So I figure I'm not going to worry about it until I know I've got something to worry about, and then I'll have plenty of time to worry." And she seemed so grounded and so peaceful when she shared these wise words with the group. It's a moment I'll never forget because the message was so profound about choosing which thoughts to pay attention to. So hopefully this example can see how as you become less identified with your thoughts and your stories, you can experience greater peace with less fear and consider possibilities that could be as true or maybe truer than the story you're spinning in your mind. So the ending of that story is that it wasn't cancer. And she did not spend a lot of time projecting a fearful future. My support group people that are here today have heard that story because it's just so instructive, I think. Okay, so you are not your thinking mind. You are the observer of your thinking mind. So deep inside at our core, we are all bigger than our thoughts. And the moment that we recognize that we are spinning in negative thoughts, that is the moment that we've gained mindfulness, because that's its essence. to move into a witness position and say, wow, look at these thoughts. Are they helping me? No. Are they harming me? Perhaps. And as a consequence to taking this witness position, we're less driven by unexamined thought patterns of the mind. And with more awareness, we're able to back out of our spiral and begin again. Just like in meditation, we gently bring our focus back to the breath and begin again. Okay. So, we don't want to stop our thoughts. Rather, we want to change our relationship with them. And mindfulness creates the spaciousness so that you can choose which thoughts and emotions you want to hang on to and nurture, and which thoughts you want to let go of. This ability to be mindful really does affect our quality of life. And the good news is that you can build your awareness and your ability to make more thoughtful, mindful decisions every day with a consistent meditation practice is very helpful in doing that. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague who's going to share a little bit about the brain and meditation.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be up here with everybody. I'm going to turn it over to meditation and the brain. So I first started meditating when I was in physical therapy school for some of the same reasons that Beth meditated. I felt anxious, I was feeling nervous, and I knew I needed a better way to cope. So I started to take meditation classes, and it's been there with me my entire life. And it's been there with me with difficult times and the joyous times. Meditation actually comes in handy. And I hope you guys can start to incorporate it into your life too after you take this lecture. This is, our brain is affected, our entire brain is really affected by meditation. This slide talks about the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the limbic system, the thalamus, the reticular formation, but there are a couple things I want to highlight. The frontal lobe is in charge of our executive function. It's what we use to make our decisions. And our limbic system helps process our emotions. So if we are making a reactive decision because we're triggered, the frontal lobe and the limbic system are working together. When we meditate, it helps calm everything doing. And part of the reason why that helps is instead of reacting quickly in your life, you become responsive. So you're not making decisions by just being triggered. You're responding to things rather than reacting. And whenever we respond to things, the outcome is much better. So there are large amounts of research on meditation. It's actually really wonderful. There's great research on meditation, and there's even a lot of research on meditation and cancer. So it's amazing to see everything that's out there. But one of the big things, of course, is that it reduces stress. The next thing is that it reduces anxiety. And one statistic I read said that 1 in 14 people worldwide experience anxiety. And I actually think that probably the other 13 people were lying, because I think that most people know that we all experience anxiety at some point in our lives. Certainly it improves our sleep. I've taught a meditation class with Beth and with several of the social workers and outside of the Providence system in the past. And I was just talking with one of my patients recently, and she said that she meditates before she goes to sleep. And she noticed that during treatment, when she meditated right before she went to sleep, it gave her a much better sleep. So it's an excellent time to utilize your meditation skills. Of course, it builds happier relationships, because we know that when we quiet ourselves down, we improve our relationships with ourselves. And when we improve our relationships with ourselves, we also improve our relationships with everyone around us. So it ripples out. Meditation on a regular basis actually improves memory, cognition, and attention. And part of that is because it builds gray matter in our brains. It actually has a physical effect on our brains. And then this is some of the specific benefits to cancer survivors. It decreases the menopausal symptoms that occur in relation to cancer, the moodiness, the edginess that can happen when you're menopausal, but also in one of the articles that I read, it combined yoga and meditation together, and it said that it decreased hot flashes. So I thought many people in this group would probably enjoy that. It improves our energy levels because when we're sleeping better and we're less fatigued, we have much more energy. And of course, it reduces our blood pressure. We're less stressed. When we're less stressed, our central nervous system is calmer, our heart's not beating as faster, and our vessels are working better. This is that picture Beth told you about, and this is really an interesting picture. The picture on the far side from me that has the yellow color in it is the picture of the brain before meditation. And they can create these pictures with functional MRIs. It's really interesting. What they do is they're measuring the beta waves in the functional MRI, and what they have found is that when people move into stillness, into quietness, the amount of beta waves that are occurring in your brain starts to calm down, and then after meditation, your brain looks like this. And so I really love the idea that we can see the physiological effects of meditation on our brain. It's not just something that we're imagining. This really can affect you on a daily basis. The key to that effect is consistency. And sometimes this can be the trickiest part, is that idea of a consistent habit. How do we create consistency in our lives? And so small positive changes every day is what makes a difference. And so it's just like with my patients who I'm teaching exercise to. You know, if you really want to build muscle, you have to exercise 3 to 5 times a week if you want to get that muscle stronger. Meditation is just exercise for the brain. If you want to build greater contentment, greater fulfillment in your life, meditation is a great resource for you. And then when we start to do it regularly, we start to see the impact it has on our health and well-being, and we start to see the impact that it has on all the people around us. Now, many of us in here are caregivers for our families. We take care of our partner, we take care of our children, we might take care of parents. And so you know that you can't really take care of anyone else until you take care of yourself. And so meditation is a great way to build that habit of self-care. The other part of meditation that it influences is our autonomic nervous system. There's 2 parts to our autonomic nervous system, and I'm just going to put a picture up here for you. The first part is the parasympathetic nervous system. The second is the sympathetic. Many of you know of the sympathetic nervous system because it's our fight or flight system. This is the system that we have for survival. When you get diagnosed with a diagnosis like breast cancer, which system do you think is activated? You can yell it out. That's correct, the sympathetic nervous system. And what that does is that it fires up your adrenal glands that causes you to produce adrenaline. It increases your heart rate. You immediately feel the fear in your body, and it contracts all of your muscles. Now, the balance to that is the parasympathetic system, and sometimes they call that the fire department. The parasympathetic system calms everything down. It slows your heart rate, it gets your stomach ready for digestion. They also call it for rest and digest. It relaxes all your muscles. So when we think of creating various practices in our lives that will help us relax, we want to think about feeding our parasympathetic nervous system. So these are some ways that you can feed your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, relaxation. So it's good to start to get an idea of what makes you feel relaxed in your life. Maybe it's coming home after a long day and sitting on the couch, reading a book. Maybe it's petting your cat. But start to think of things that will help you relax. Some of you, after this lecture today, may adopt a regular meditation practice that will help stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system and help you relax a little bit more. Another great way to stimulate it is imagery and breathing. So let's go through those a little bit. Take a look at this picture just for a second. And notice the lemons on the bottom. See how they're all sliced. And now I want you to see if you feel anything in your body. By thinking of that lemon, can you feel that salivation maybe a little bit in your jaw? Can you imagine the smell? Yeah, so imagery is a powerful tool to use for your wellness. It's actually an easy thing to use to drop in times when you feel anxious or a little bit nervous. So for instance, you can easily imagine yourself sitting on a park bench with the sun on your face. You can imagine yourself sitting at the beach with a cool breeze going by on a sunny day. These are techniques that you can use when you meditate. And then if you use them consistently, when you're in places that might provoke anxiety, you can use them to drop into that sense of calm. And I work with many women who are recovering from breast cancer. And over the years, I've noticed the pattern of what tends to bring on their anxiety. Before imaging studies, anniversaries, sometimes even Race for the Cure. These are things that can bring up anxiety, although they can be very exciting and bring people together also. But these are good times to use your imagery or your meditation skills to help you drop into a sense of relaxation and calm. Another great thing to use is breath. One of the reasons why breath works so well is you can't breathe into the past and you can't breathe into the future. The breath just naturally keeps you present. And so what I'd like you to do for a second here is just put your hand on your diaphragm. Sit up tall in your chair. And go ahead and inhale into your hand and exhale. And this is called diaphragmatic breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And so this also stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, and it's an easy tool to use when you're stuck in traffic. If you're at home and you're having a difficult conversation with a friend, if you're stopped at a light, anything you want, you can easily, these are tools for you that help empower you, that you can easily drop into. The second one we have is a large inhalation followed by an even longer exhalation. And part of the reason why this works is it really helps to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system, and it turns the volume on your central nervous system down. We always want to calm down our central nervous system because it can easily get flared up, and when our nervous system gets flared up, everything hurts a little bit more. Many times when I work with patients in the clinic who are in a lot of pain, I'll work with them on deep breathing. And part of the reason why we do that is because when you're hurting or when you're in pain, what do you tend to do? Yeah, you hold your breath, and your breath becomes shallow. So if I start off with having people take a nice deep inhalation followed by a nice deep exhalation, it helps calm everything down. Andrew Weil also talks about breath counting. Breath counting, what you want to do when you breath count is you count your exhales all the way up to 5. So you inhale, exhale, that's 1. Inhale, exhale, that's 2. And you do this all the way to 5. If all of a sudden you notice that you went to 20, that means you lost your mindfulness somewhere along the way. So then you just start back over again. And it's easy to do, but it's a nice, easy thing to do to kind of see where you're at with things. And that's a nice thing to do before you go to bed also. There are tons of different types of meditation out there. You know, I've had my experience lies with guided meditation and with transcendental meditation. And guided meditation is what Beth did with you earlier, and you'll experience it with me here in a second. I'm just going to take you through a meditation. Mindfulness-based stress reduction is a type of meditation by Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's a wonderful form of meditation. And what's cool is that you live in fabulous Portland, Oregon, where you have, and also at all of the sites that are simulcasted in as well, you have tons of resources available to you around meditation. And so you can try any of these. In fact, some of the simulcast sites, we have a resource list that we can ask Komen to post, so you can also see that resource list. But the biggest and most important thing about meditation is not to give up. it's easy to try one form of meditation and say, I didn't really like it. But if you didn't really like it, try something else, because you can easily go online and hear a meditation on YouTube. Beth and I have given you a great resource sheet. If you didn't get it, there's extra copies up here. But don't give up on it. Try and stick with it, because the benefits are numerous that it can give you. When we meditate, oftentimes a lot of emotions and sensations will rise to the surface. And this is really normal. And actually, it's a good thing, because it means that you're tuning into what's going on a little bit deeper. And so if an emotion or a sensation comes to the surface that you feel uncomfortable with, pay attention to it. And if it keeps rising there and you feel a little fearful around it, or if it starts to trigger a response in your body, reach out to someone like a social worker, or a psychologist, or a counselor. There's lots of help for you in all of your hospitals that you've seen. There's social workers that can help direct you to people and assist you with these things. So get some help if you happen to notice something's rising to the surface. And please don't stop meditating because of it. Meditation is just a habit. It's about forming a habit. I have a little bit of a sweet tooth, so I understand habits. I really, really like chocolate. That's my thing. And I also have other habits, though, too. I like to do yoga. I meditate. I exercise. Wherever we put our intention to, whatever we're doing on a regular basis, these are habits. And habits form in about 21 days. So it takes about 3 weeks to form a good habit. So if you can consistently sit and meditate each day for the next 3 weeks, most likely you will stick with this habit. But the thing that meditation does also is it starts to change some of your usual triggers. So there's a great Buddhist teacher named Pema Chodron, and she talks about choosing the hook that you bite. How many have people in their lives that can just irritate them slightly? And so you notice that when you're around this particular person, they're probably going to trigger a certain reaction in you. But say you're meditating for a while. What you might notice is that when that person says that thing to you, you're like, oh, there it is. I'm going to have a different response. And that's what choosing the hook you bite means. It means choosing where you're going to put your energy. And meditation allows you to make a little bit better choice. So we're going to go through, I'm doing good on time, we're going to go through another brief guided meditation here. So if everybody can go ahead and get comfortable in their chair, I'm going to take you through it. So they're going to shut the lights off, and what I want you to do is you can keep your eyes open or your eyes closed. If you choose to keep your eyes open, I would like you to take a soft gaze on something in front of you. And then go ahead and feel your spine lengthening up in the chair, and notice your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Notice the length and quality of your breath. And as you breathe, feel your shoulders gently relaxing on your spine. Your jaw relaxing and opening, and your tongue resting on the bottom of your mouth with every inhale and every exhale. And notice your bottom making contact with the chair. And your hands gently resting on your lap. Keeping your focus with your breath as you inhale and take an even longer exhale. Notice your feet melting into the floor and your body relaxing a little bit more deeply into the chair. Inhaling new and refreshing energies and exhaling and releasing. So easy to let go, so easy to release. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to your breath. Inhaling, exhaling. And with your next breath, I want you to breathe in the essence of love, filling up your lungs with the essence of love and holding it there just for a moment at the top of your inhale. And then exhaling and releasing harmony. And let's repeat this a few times. Inhaling love, holding it there. Exhaling and releasing harmony. And if your body is fidgeting or uncomfortable, bring it back to your breath. That gentle inhale, exhale. Inhaling love, exhaling harmony. You're doing very well. Feeling that sense of community in that room. Feeling the sense of togetherness in this room. As you inhale love and exhale harmony. Allowing each breath to take you into a deeper sense of relaxation. Ease. And as you're breathing, if you notice areas of any tension or tightness in your body, go ahead and breathe into those areas, using your breath to soften those spots, those places of tightness. Always returning back to your breath. Very good. Inhaling new and refreshing energies and exhaling and releasing stress, tension, tightness. Noticing every cell in your body relaxing and releasing. Every muscle softening as you breathe. And when you feel ready, you can gently return to the room and open your eyes. There, you guys did it. You did 8 minutes of meditation, no problem. So that just shows you that you can easily do this at home. It's easy to just return it back to your breath. So I'd like to talk with you a little bit about how you can set up a home practice. Did everyone feel like they could relax a little bit in that meditation? Can I see a show of hands of how many people felt like they could just relax and let go? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this is an easy thing for you to do at home. It's a great way to incorporate it into your life, and again, the resources can help guide you there. One thing that some of my teachers say is that you can meditate wherever your butt's at. This does not have to be complicated. If you want to meditate before you go to bed, then meditate before you go to bed. If you have a favorite chair that you want to sit in at home, meditate there. If you find yourself sitting on a park bench and it's quiet and you feel moved to meditate, meditate there. What's great is you can put a meditation timer on your phone. You can meditate anywhere, and you could do it without setting a timer if you want to. The most important thing is consistency. So pick where you want to do it and do it regularly. And if you do it at different times a day, it's okay. One of my friends flies a lot, she travels a lot, and she always meditates on the plane. So sometimes when you're skilled, you can do it even if it's noisy. There's some people like to meditate to music, which is a great way to do it. Some people like to use guided imagery. It helps them focus, like what we did today. And then, again, your resource sheets has those different things you can choose to use. What's nice is there's tons and tons of ways to do it and lots of options for you. But always keep in mind the practical reasons why you're choosing to meditate. The reason why you're choosing to meditate is that you want to build a happier relationship with yourself. Most people choose to meditate so that they can feel more contentment. And this overflows and ripples out into your life in many different ways. I really resonate with this quote that one person's calmness can distract a room full of tension. And when you meditate regularly, you influence all the people around you without even meaning to, because of the level of calm that you keep. So for instance, if you know your triggers well and you know your own tendencies well, which really helps, you know that when you go for a doctor's appointment, that tends to get you a little bit edgy or nervous. And so that's a great time. Maybe take a few minutes and meditate in the car. But you want to build your skill up before you try that for the first time, because it will help you to drop into that sense of calm better. Sometimes you can use it before you do an imaging study. You can use it as a sleep aid. Some of us get upset when we have big family events, or if we're going to be around a lot of family that might trigger us. This is another great time to use it. Or before a job interview. These are just some examples. There are many out there. So we're coming to the end of our presentation, and we will certainly have some time for questions. We want to say thank you, of course, to Komen for having us here. We really appreciate it. This is, I think, a wonderful education resource for people in the community. I want to thank my teachers at the Self-Discovery Group, Deanna Marcus and Kirk Cook. And Sophia Marcus Myers gave us many of the beautiful pictures in our presentation, so a thanks to her. And a thank you to Providence as well for giving us the time to do this presentation. So I'm going to have Beth come back up here so that we can go over any questions that you guys might have. If you have a question, if you'll hold up your index card for people, then we can go over anything. Oh my goodness, it looks like you, are there some index cards coming up or? Okay. And so if you guys don't have questions, or if you didn't have a chance, if you want to yell, put your hand up and ask us a question, you certainly can too. Uh-huh. Sure. So the question is, when you're meditating, do you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, or out through your nose and in through the mouth? And that's a common question. And really, the most important thing is to breathe. You don't have to worry about getting that technique right. In yoga, sometimes they teach you different breathing techniques. But for meditation, just let your body breathe you. And so you don't even have to worry about that. That's a great question. Thank you. Are there any other questions for us? Doesn't look like it. Looks like we're good. Well, thank you. I think Komen is has some last minute things that they want to tell you. So I just want to say, from Beth and I, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Beth and Barbara, for bringing us to this mindful meditative state at the end of the session. Perhaps that's why there's not many questions. We're all so relaxed and ready to lay our heads down. On behalf of Komen, we are so grateful that you decided to join us today as a sense of community. And I hope that you did find that community to be able to share your stories, to ask questions, to share your challenges, to share the things you've overcome. We hope that the panel sessions were informative, that they helped you learn and understand what we're doing together in this fight against breast cancer, as well as living with breast cancer. And I want to thank again our panelists, Beth and Barbara, and all those that followed, going back to Dr. David Page, who started us today wondering if we should eat those brownies that were on the table at lunch. I think we all survived the brownies. This is our 9th year of conducting the conference, and as we do, we always know we're learning, we're growing, we're listening. So we do want you to your opinions and your insights are important to us. So we do have an evaluation in your packets, and we hope that you would leave your comments. Let us know what are the things that you would like us to cover in the future. You met some of our committee members. They're such a wonderful, dedicated group of people. And they really rely on the feedback of all of you here in this room and across the state to let us know what we should be focusing on. So do take the time. We read those. We take them to heart. And when our committee gets together after this conference, we begin to formulate next year's program, which we hope you will join us for. 2 last housekeeping things. One, we found a ring in the women's bathroom. So if you're missing a small ring, it has some material on the bottom. Come see me or Bridget. I'll be there by the front desk so you can get that back, and we'll hold on to it if someone you know is here lost their ring. Secondly, we did have raffle prizes that were drawn, and I don't know, we're going to have a list. I think it was going to be on the screen, but if not, oh, there they are. So you know who you are. The raffle prizes are just across the way here, so you can go over ahead and pick those up before you leave. So on behalf of all of us at Komen, the committee, our volunteers, staff, our speakers, thank you again for being a part of the 2017 Regional Breast Issues Conference here in Portland, in Bend, Roseburg, Eugene, Springfield, Newport, and Medford. I'm not going to leave out the Rogue Valley. So have a wonderful rest of your evening and your weekend, safe travels, and we do hope to see you back here again next year.